So today we finally start learning JavaScript. It's our activity for our web page, it's our functionality, it's all the best that we can have on our front-end part, and finally it's a programming language. It's not a markup language, and there are a lot of different interesting things, and I hope you will love JavaScript. Let's start not with JavaScript, but with very fast and very small reminding about HTML. So I saw some common mistakes about nested containers, and very important to understand that when we speak about semantic tags, section, main, etc., it's important not to nest a lot of containers inside. And if we have, for example, section, that was a very common issue. And if we have here, I don't know, some h1 tag, some image tag, and some feed tag, uh, section, it can be like the only one container for that. And it's not necessary to put here another div. And it's very important to take in your mind and remember about it, because with that, if you put a lot of unnecessary divs inside one semantic tag, you will just broke your whole semantic core, your whole semantic text and visibility for vertex optimization. So it's like one of the most common issue. And if you have just, for example, three texts, and it's not so necessary to make another containers, you can just put section and that's it. And another one reminding about homeworks, it's with late policies. In your syllabus, you have that, and starting with that homework from today's lecture, we will have some penalties for late homeworks, and yeah, that's it. Okay, so now we can finally. Oh yeah, and oh wow, oh my God, who is that? Who is that? Okay. Yeah, and also, by the way, a small reminder that we will have exam for that project. And if we speak about some percentage of grades, we will have 70 percentage for homeworks and for classworks, and 30 percentage for final exam. Okay, and finally, we can start learning JavaScript. So, what is JavaScript? JavaScript was initially created to make web pages alive, and the program in this language are called scripts. So it's make JavaScripts, and they can be written right in a web page HTML and run automatically as the page loads. And firstly, let's speak how to run that. How to run that script and how to run JavaScript in your web pages. Firstly, you can write some JavaScript code right here in your DevTools. So you run your HTML file with that live server. You need to open DevTools, and then you can write something here. But obviously, when page will be reloaded, that script will be cleaned. So it's not okay, but if you want, I don't know, to have some logs or something like that, you can just write here. Oh, I need to zoom it. Yeah, for example, console log, hello world. Oh, wow, interesting. Hmm. So you can't write it normally, but yeah, I know the way. Oh, yeah, here it is. You need to open that that tab and not no errors or no warnings or something like that. Yeah, here we have it. So we wrote console log hello world and we can see it. But if you want to work with JavaScript for our page, in body tag, we can write script tag. And here we locate our JavaScript code. Also, we can put that script inside head tag, or another variant, we can write script and write here src, create index.js file, for example, and here we need to write that right src. So yeah, that's it. And obviously that JavaScript, when we work with it, it works only for our only web page where we put that script. We can't, unfortunately, use some files on our desktop to have something like that. And it works only with that we have in that project, in that folder, and in that web page. So when page is loaded, our script is loaded too, and it has some functionality. And for example, let's write here console log. Yeah, and here we have that hello world in our console. So again, how to run it and how to open it. We need to open our DevTools. We need to open our console tab. And here we have that logs. And here for writing something inside console, you use console log for that. And also you can write alert, and you will have that alert on your web page with some text or with any functionality that you want. Okay, and I highly recommend you to write with me and create all the files right now. Yeah, and also if we speak a little bit more about some more advanced JavaScript or something like that, I think it's also very important to mention that we have some like advanced practice, advanced libraries. For example, it can be TypeScript, because JavaScript by default don't have strict types. We can play with it. We can convert string number to string and other stuff, and we can evaluate them or something like that. But with TypeScript, for example, we can't do that. We will have a lot of errors. We will have a lot of warnings and other stuff. But on that course, we will learn just JavaScript. Yeah, and also for that course, I also highly recommend to use Google Chrome and not something some another, because you can have some warnings or errors or some additional settings just to open your console for seeing JavaScript code or any other things in DevTools. Okay, so we set up it and we can start learning. What about syntaxes in JavaScript? That symbol is not necessary. You can write it or not. If you use splitter or linter, it can be added automatically, but it's not important. And as I mentioned earlier, for alerting some information, we use alert, and for writing something in console, we use console log. Also, about some features, we can write hello world, and here we will have some errors, and strings must be in one line. That's very important. But if we want to have some calculations, for example, we can write it like that, and it will work. So yeah, when we speak about strings, it must be in one line, and if we want to use some lines line breaks, we need to change our symbols from Labkit to, I can't remember that name. Yeah, that's it. And with that, we can move it to another string, and that's commonly used also for Python, if I'm not mistaken, and for other programming languages. Okay, so let me remind 1 second. Yeah, and for comments inside your JavaScript, we use just two slashes, and we can write here the comment. And okay, and for our index.js file, we also need always write useStrict. And now I want to tell you about a little bit more. So for a long time, JavaScript evolved without compatibility issues, and new features were added to the language while old functionality didn't change. And that had the benefit of never breaking existing code, but the downside was that any mistake or imperfect decision made by JavaScript editors get stuck in the language forever. So this was the case until 2009 when ECMAScript 5 and ECMAScript 6 after that appeared, and it added new features to the language and modified some of the existing code. So to keep the old code working, most such modifications are all by default, and you need to explicitly enable them with a special directive use strict. Okay, and it's also important to write it everywhere, and we will we will highlight that in some homeworks. Okay, and let's start with variables. So when we speak about JavaScript and all JavaScript, firstly, we had our var, and for initialing some variables, we just used it. It can be modified, it can be constant, but unfortunately, not unfortunately, very luckily, it was it was reworked, and now we can't use var because now we need to use let and const. And what is the difference between let and const? How do you think? Just how do you feel? What is the difference between let and constant? Yaroslav, you can't answer. You know the answer. I know. Yes. Yeah, totally right. Bless you. Okay. Yeah, we can write let message, and then we can change that message. For example, gain hello world, and let's move it to console. Yeah, and we can see it here that we can modify that let, and sometimes it's very useful because we can work with it a lot. Also, what about let? We can write it not like that, but also like that, and after that we can write some another variables, for example, like that, and also let's log it in console. So we have all three variables, and you can write it just in one line, but it's not a very good practice, but JavaScript add that possibility. But I highly recommend you to write just like that. Here you need to put, and also, by the way, you can write it like that, and it will still work. Example is, yeah, and it will also work, but you need to put here a comma, and everything will be okay. So yeah, and for example, recently we can just write var, and in some old code, in some legacy code, if you will work with front-end development, or if you will work with some web functionality, you can see and you can find some var variables, and it also works like that, but it's very old practice, and now it can be used. Okay, and what about const? Const can't be changed, not like that. And you can change it. So I think it's pretty obvious about let and const, that let you can change, const you can change. And let's see some also interesting things with let. But firstly, yeah, what about naming the variables? By default, and with best practices, you need to use camel case for that. And you can't use some symbols. The only symbol that you can use it's underscore, it's dollar sign, and letters. Also, you can use Cyrillic and some symbols, but it's not okay, as everywhere in every programming language, and by default we have English. Okay, so yeah, and we can't use, for example, let word for variable. We have some reserved names, and it's let, class, return, and function. That is for words that you can't use for your variables. Okay, so let's continue. Yeah, I think that's all about. Yeah, and let's also see what we'll have in our console if we want to change, for example, const. Yeah, and here we will have that error. It's also very bad for me, to be honest, that we don't have such errors inside our IDE, and TypeScript solved that problem. But TypeScript, it's like a separate topic for learning and separate functionality. But yeah, unfortunately, we can't see it here, but you need always to remember that const can be changed. So, and let's speak about data types. What do we have in JavaScript? So firstly, obviously, we have numbers. It just that. Numbers can be changed. It can be with dots, for example, and we can see it here. Also for checking our type, we can use type of method. And after that, we write our variable, for example, and here we have that console that it's number. Okay, numbers. Hmm? Yeah. Also, we can have some mathematical functions. We can have some that let's like write like that. 1 divided by 0 will have infinity. We can have some mathematics function and other stuff, and also if you want to use some mathematics functions, you need to write math, and then you have that a very huge possibility to use different functions. For example, if you want to find minimum value, maximum value, random, to have some logarithms and other stuff. So yeah, that's about numbers. And also very interesting. What do we have here? How do you think? And maybe you know if we will string divide by number. How do you think? What do we have?
two options, either error or it gives us like half of the string.
Have you heard maybe about none value?
No, yes.
None.
No.
Okay, here we have none, and none represents a compilation error, and it is a result of an incorrect or an undefined mathematical operations, for example, like that. If you want to string divide by number. So yeah, that's another possibility to have here. And also we can work with none. We can write it here, and you have also that autocomplete. And for example, if we add to none 1, it will also have none. So if there is a none somewhere in mathematical expressions, it propagates to the whole result, and there is only one exception to that. If we none, second, yeah, here we'll have 1. So another type in JavaScript, it's called begin. And what does it mean? So in JavaScript, the number type cannot safely represents integer values larger than, I can't tell it like that, but it can be can be larger than that one, and let them 1 second. Yeah, so it locates in the array from that value to that value, and for bigger values we have that begin type. So to be really precise, the number type can store larger integers, but outside of the safe integer range there will be a precision error because not all digits fit into the fixed 64-bit storage. And second, yeah, and for example, let's write here some begins type. Yeah, and let's put at the end an word and letter, and it means it will mean that that value is begin, and such constant like that will mention that it has type begin, so type of begin, and we have it here. So if we want to have a huge, very large number, we can put an at the end, and that will be, obviously we have string. Yep.
That was a good score. Basically, variable groups. So if we, for example, add int to a begins, we have to like write a type of int, or does it do it itself?
Let's see. If you want to learn some advanced, or I don't know, if you want to learn better JavaScript, I really highly recommend you to try to play with all that stuff. If you want to, for example, add number with strings, or divide number by string, or add to begin or something like that, because JavaScript have their own like philosophy with it, that every type can be I forgot that word in English language, but проведений до одного типу, and we can also combine that. And for example, if we have const str, for example, let's have it hello, and we have yeah, here, for example, we have that проведення типів. I really can't remember how it's rightly translated in English, but here, for example, we have that string now, hello, and we have that number. And I think with int with number and begins, it's a very interesting question. Yeah, and here we'll have error. So begins can't be provided with the same type as number. And yeah, that's it. Because begins we have it's like more than that value, and we can't work like add something bigger than that. But I think that if we will have some, yeah, here we will have that results. So begins and number can't be moved to one type. Okay, strings. What's interesting about strings? So let's write some phrase. No, let's make let str1 and let's write it. What do we write? Shrek. Okay. Um, let str2 is the best. And we can have that phrase, for example. And if we want to combine that phrase with some another const, if we want to have some variables inside of that string, to be honest, it's very useful when you work with some advanced frameworks and advanced libraries. If you want to add some functionality for cards, for think, for example, on global page, when you have some search results or something like that, or when you have some lead cards. You want to write the number of it, yeah, and we need to make that phrase, we need to make that string and put it inside HTML. So yeah, Copilot showed me that. You need to write that okay, but I can't remember the right name of that symbol, but yeah. Maybe someone remember how does it called.
Not asterisk.
Maybe asterisk. Backticks. I remembered. Yeah, backticks. Okay, and here, for example, we can write hello. Then we write dollar and figure brackets, and write here str1 and str2. And let's console it. Yeah, and also not for every time writing console.log, you can write just log and click enter, and it will add by default from Visual Studio Code. Yeah, and here we have we can see that phrase "Hello Shrek" is the best. So yeah, we can work with strings like that. Let me yeah. And also we can put here not only strings, but let's also have some and we can also put here some another types. It will be moved to one type, but it will be one string. And also we can have here some calculations, for example. It will also work like that. So everything can be put outside of variable, and you can put some calculations inside of that brackets. So yeah, let's move on. Another type is Boolean. Boolean stands for true or false. And this type is commonly used to store yes, no value. True means yes, correct, and false means no, incorrect. So, for example, if we have some checkbox, we can have that true. And oh, another one, checkbox false. So yeah, we can see it here. And again, console log, we can see it here, Boolean. And also Boolean values are used for some mathematical operations. For example, let's write let is greater, and we can compare, for example, 5 minus 3. Yeah, and here we also can see that Boolean value because we have that condition, and that condition is false. So we add that Boolean value to that variable. JavaScript also have some special values, and one of them is null. So let's, for example, let's name null. And that special value doesn't belong to any of the types described recently, and it forms a separate type of its own, which contains only the null value. And in JavaScript, null is not a reference to a non-existing object or a null pointer, like in some other languages. It's just a special value which represents nothing. So it's like empty or value unknown. And that code means that we don't have any name and it's nothing. How much time do we have? 10 minutes, okay. Also, another special value that we have in JavaScript, it's called undefined. And if we write, for example, age, um, we can see that it's undefined. So that special value also stands apart and it makes a type of its own, and it's just like null. So the meaning of undefined is value is not assigned. So we have that variable, but we don't have any value for that. So if in that case we have that value and a name is empty, but age we just don't have any values, and we don't add something to that, and it's just undefined. So value is not assigned. And if variable is declared but not assigned, so like that, then its value is undefined. Yeah, and also we have some objects, we have some symbols, and the object type is special. All other types are called primitive because their values can contain only a single thing, be it a string or a number or whatever, and in construct objects are used to store collections of data and more complex entities. So if we speak about all previous, we have that, we have yeah, we have string, we have number, we have boolean, we have null, we have undefined, and that's all of primitive types. And non-primitive types, it's object. So, oh no, first one is, yeah, let's speak about object 1 second. So how we can write object? Here we have that advice from Copilot. So when we speak about object, we write our name, we open our brackets, and as usual with object, we write our key and our value for that key. Also, we can make separate files like that, and it have the JSON format, for example. And here we can put our object, for example, that one. Yeah, and that's how we write our object. And index.json, by default, it contains some basic information. In that value, you can also put another object, for example, like that. We again create like object inside object. We can write it here. Yeah, and it will work. So what is it? Interesting. Yeah, and we can see that object here. So we have name, we have first name, last name, student, and age. Okay, good. That's about types. And let's move on with some primitive types. 1 second. Yeah, let's also speak about how we can work with some basic functions like alert and console log. And for example, I need to again run my code. 1 second, sorry. Yeah, also we can use not only console log and alert, we also have some prompt. And for example, here we can write, I can write like that. Yeah, and in general, it have it accepts two different arguments. It have title, and it also have some default values. Yeah, and let's write let age, write prompt. I don't want to have age, I want to have let name. What is your name? Yeah, and here we have the default value. For example, we can see that pop up. And here we have that question, what is your name? And 100. If we will remove it, we don't have some default value for that input. We can reload it. And here we can write some name and write OK. So yeah, that will work like that. And also we have some confirm. Confirm, it's have that structure. We write confirm, and inside that we write question. So that is a structure of confirm function. Let's also write that is present, for example. And also we can log that information and use it. For example, inside our console log, we write is present. Let me remove that second. Yeah, I am present okay. And why can't we see it here? Interesting. Yeah, we clicked here, okay, and we can see it here too. It can be worked, you can use it in different ways. And for example, if you want to make sure that your clients are older than some specific age or something like that, if you want to have some information about their name and you want to send that information to backend or use in your web page. For example, when you visit, for example, your web page, you can write your name and surname, for example, yeah, and then put that information inside your HTML tags, use it, and yeah, it can be worked like that. And one small question in Ukrainian. О котрій зазвичай закінчується пара і о котрій починається ця вся історія з ярмаркою?
Коротше, буде 24:30.
М?
Активно прямо до 24:30. На 4:15 вони вже будуть тут всяке розташовувати і так далі. Ну, типа, ну, по суті, вони до 4:15 часу. Як звичайно, 30.
Мгм.
4:10, 4.
Окей, добре. So I have 10 minutes more.
Сергій писав, що аудиторію. Бо тут такі тригери.
Ну, да, трошки вбиває все, що на
Так.
фоні, чуть-чуть. Okay, let's speak firstly about some basic operators and how we can write functions. And I will show you some very cool website where you can learn JavaScript, and I will reference it a lot, I think. Okay, so what about some basic operators and math? Um, to start about. So we have our let x equal to 1. So yeah, we have some operators. It's addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, remainder, and exponentation. So here that's it, and we can write it also like that and work with it. But yeah, 1 second, I forgot what did I want to say. So let's just see how does it work. For example, yeah, we have remainder of 5 and divided by 2. Explanation works the same. You can see it here that we have 25 as a result and all other stuff. And as I mentioned earlier, we can work with some S operators with strings, for example. And if we have some hello, we can have some for example, like that. And we will have our hello world. But if we don't put it in, right, just like that, we will have hello world. Also, we can write here instead of that console log. And it will also work like that. And we don't limit, we aren't limited by only 2 different values. We can put it as much as we want, for example, like that. And we will have the whole string. Yeah, and also very interesting, if we want to like that. Yeah, we can also use numeric conversion unary plus, and the plus exists in 2 forms: the binary form that we used above and the unary form. So the unary plus, or in other words, the plus operator applied to a single value and doesn't do anything to number. But if the operator is not a number, the unary plus converts it into a number. And for example, here we have that, and let me write. How do you think what we will have here? Here, when we log console log plus x, we have that one value, as mentioned here. And for example, here, if we write plus and boolean value,
Into integer number. But for true or false, we also have value 1 or 0. False.
and what we will have?
0.
1 or 0? How do you think? What do you suppose? 1 or 0? Let's make, let's have some stuff here. 1 or 0?
So false.
Who stands for 1? Move your hand. Who wants 0? Katerina, what this?
For 0, 1 is the same for 2.
Yeah, we will have 1. And another interesting question, if we have like that, what do we have? We have string, but it's empty.
Awesome.
But that unary plus symbol make its number. Отже, цей плюс він приводить до єдиного типу. Тут буде це число. І що ми будемо тут мати? How do you think? Now we can move also for a number. And what's number stands for null? Nothing. Yes, that's JavaScript magic. We can everything move and translate to another types, and that's a very useful sometimes, and that's a very interesting. Uh, yeah, but I think with that plus operator will have just error. No, we will have none. So it can be moved to number, and object it's not a primitive type.
I love breaking.
Yeah. And unfortunately, we don't have much time, and unfortunately, Russia still exists, and we have some limits in time. But yeah, we have a very wonderful web page. It's called JavaScript Info. You can see it in different languages, UK or English or any other language. And here we have like a very detailed tasks. We have a really detailed information about that. And I will ask you to have some lectures, have some I'll learn some materials from that web page, and I will ask you some questions about it on the next lecture because we don't have much time today. And yes, we will move with some another practices and speak more on the next lecture. I think for today we will end, and for the next lecture it will be there will be more information. So yeah, I think at the end for today, maybe I can very quickly tell you about how we can write some functions, for example. So for functions, we use the keyword function. We open brackets. We can write some arguments, for example. I know. And we can use it here, for example. If we want to return that value, we can write it like that. And why? Yeah, and we need to write our name of function. So yeah, that's the code for the function, how we can write it. For example, if argument is a number, we can work with it. So for example, we can have it like that. And for example, we just want to add functionality. We want to add some number for our argument. And then we can call it. We can also add to some value. For example, const result. We call that function and put some argument inside of it. And then we can log the result. And we have 15. So yeah, that's function. That's syntaxes for our functions. And also functions can be written like an arrow function, but arrow function, we will speak about it on next lecture. Yeah.